The mysterious disappearance of BBC presenter Mark Laurent left viewers and producers in shock. He vanished from the spotlight without a trace. His sudden disappearance raised many questions, the biggest being, why did he vanish so suddenly? Laurent had been with the BBC for close to a decade and had become a well-known figure in the broadcasting world. He was embedded in the community, with major connections and respected work that earned him much recognition. When he went silent, people began to wonder what had happened and where he had gone. His absence from TV shows, events and shows puzzled researchers and fans alike. It's almost as if he had vanished into thin air. It certainly wasn't a voluntary disappearance. People began to speculate why he had suddenly disappeared and what could have been the cause of his abrupt exit. Other media houses were also inquiring, but he seemed to have dropped off the face of the earth. Then finally, 1 year later, the real story behind Mark Laurent's disappearance was uncovered. It turns out, after months of investigation, that he had been in a toxic working environment. He had found himself stuck in the shadows of his boss and colleagues who had much more power and influence. He had felt his work was getting ignored and the spotlight was elsewhere, and it had become too much for him to bear. Frustrated and desperate, he refused to attend meetings and eventually, he stopped coming to work altogether. The BBC had done its best to cover for him, but eventually, the truth came out. He left behind a legacy of successful shows and strong work ethic that made him an admired figure in the industry. After his story was revealed, Mark Laurent received an outpouring of love and support from tons of fans and admirers. It wasn't enough to get him back in the spotlight, as he had vanished from the scene, but it was a start. Although he hasn't returned to the BBC, he has opened up many opportunities elsewhere. He has been heard from occasionally over the years, revealing updates of his progress in interviews and through social media. His story inspired many people, showing that it's okay to take a step back and re-evaluate your life. It's okay to realize that a working environment isn't beneficial and that it's time to move on. The story of Mark Laurent also revealed the struggles that many professionals face in their respective fields. The same power structures and imbalances that caused him to leave can also hinder many people's progress in their chosen fields. It's a harsh reality that many people are facing today, and his story sheds some much-needed light on the issue.